everybody. How's it going?
Ready for a virtual home buyer seminar.
Oh yeah. Let's wait a little bit for some of the viewers to come in.
Okay. So how you doing today, Austin?
I'm doing pretty good. We
Good.
helping out with the closing of those deals we had this week. So
I'm glad we're able to fit this home buying seminar in. The market's been crazy. A lot of buyers out there. The real estate market is it's in full action here in 2021.
yeah, it's been a crazy year to say the least. Not only the real estate world, but probably a lot of personal lives. So
There's no doubt.
all right, let's jump into things. All right.
Okay. Ready to go.
All right. I want to welcome everybody joining us today live for our virtual home buying seminar. I'm really excited. I'm sure Sean is as well. To share some important, if not essential, information that I believe everyone should be familiar with. You don't have to be an expert on the home buying process, but that's where you can rely on us as agents to help you out throughout the process and guide you along. We can answer any questions that you have, and we're there throughout the process to get the home that you want and ultimately live a better life. But moving on, we'll go through the agenda and let's jump into things. I'm Austin Assad, realtor with Keller Williams and the Stewart Team Homes, and
I'm Sean Stewart, team leader at the Stewart Team Homes. And as Austin said, you don't have to go through this alone. The two of us, we have a full-time real estate team, and we're professionals. So rely on the pros to help you get the job done. So today's agenda, we're going to go over everything that you need to know to purchase a home, whether you're a first-time buyer or you're back in the market to buy again. It's changed quite a bit over the past 3 to 5 years. And we're going to share with you what is happening in the market today. And we're going to share that with you because you need to know what's been happening, what's trending, and how fast you need to move. So we're going to talk about the benefits of buying. We're going to talk about how do you purchase a home, building your real estate team, a mortgage lender you can rely on, a real estate agent, and a real estate team that you can rely on, and the experts that we have at our disposal that will assist you in buying your home. Going through the home buying process, we'll share some tips with you, and then we'll wrap things up. But I want to remind everybody. Don't forget to pose questions in the live chat. We'd like to know who's here. Where are you from? What kind of questions do you have? So, we want to know how we can help you out. All right. All right. So as I said, we're going to start with the real estate market. And the reason why we're doing this is to bring some perspective. And, we have a lot of, I think, information out there in regards to the COVID crisis that we're currently in, COVID recession. That may be true in regards to certain areas of the economy. It isn't true in regards to real estate, though. Over the recessions over the past 40 years that we've had, 1980 and 81 and 2001 are great examples of what we're seeing here in 2021. We happen to be in an economic recession, yet it isn't a housing crisis. I was part of that housing crisis back in 2008. And let me tell you, it really affected home ownership. It affected our ability to purchase and or to sell. That's not the case today. So don't I'm not going to say that the COVID recession is a benefit, because there's no way I could ever link anything good to the COVID recession. yet buyers and sellers can take advantage of the current market that we're in. So this graph right here shows you a little bit about what is happening in regards to our market over the past 3 years. And, really what I want to share with you is the fact that the market has gone up dramatically in regards to the activity of buyers, yet the inventory is down. So in the past, 3 years, we have inventory that is down over 55%, almost 56%. So the amount of homes available to purchase for our buyers has dropped considerably, yet our buyer activity has increased. So quite honestly, it's a win-win if there ever was one. Yes, we're in a seller's market because sellers are getting more for their home and they're in demand. It's a supply and demand, simple economics. Yet sellers are able to sell their homes fast because of the amount of buyers that we have that are active. And the buyers are able to get a great loan, so they have more buying power. And Austin's going to explain a little bit more about that to you in a little bit. So the real estate market now, over the past 3 years, has actually appreciated 27%. That's why sitting on the sidelines waiting or attempting to time the market, when will it stop appreciating? When's it going to come down? You can't. We only know that the market shifts and changes after it shifts and changes. So get into the market today. It is a great time to be in real estate. If you're a first-time buyer, we can help you there. If you're moving on, moving up, moving down, or we can also help you. So we're excited to present more to you, and maybe you can leave in the chat exactly what you're looking to accomplish in this real estate market today.
Yeah.
Tell me about the rates.
Yeah. So, the mortgage rates, we talked about the supply. The inventory was dropping, especially over the past 18 months. And we've seen when COVID hit in March, we never see the seasonality. So usually in the spring, we see an increase in inventory. Because of COVID, this didn't occur. The inventory just continued to decrease, but the home prices are increasing. So you're thinking, what's driving this buyer activity? The buyer activity is driven by the low interest rates that the government's providing for us. The interest rates today are listed at 2.89%. Okay, put things in perspective. Last year, this was a whole percentage point higher at 3.9%. And then taking a look at the past 25 years, we're heading above 9%. So you can see how the mortgage rates have decreased over the years. And, today in this market, we're experiencing an all-time low interest rate on the mortgage, which is, causing that buyer activity to increase. And, that has also played a role on the home prices increasing, but, the percentage that you're saving because of the low interest rate will outweigh, how much the home prices are increasing.
Yeah, that low interest rate gives you a lot more buying power. Something I just want to share real quick for perspective, depending on what age group you're in regards to demographic of purchasing. We've never seen it hit 2.89%. It's a 50-year historical low. So if you go back 50 years or just go back 40 years, interest rates were in the 15 to 17%. So, you go back, I'm going to say 30 years, you were in 9%, 10%, 11% interest rates. And, you were in double digits, high double digits over the past, 20, 30, 40 years. And over the past 10 years, they've dramatically come down from 7, 6, 5, now just less than 3%. So we're seeing historically low rates that I don't think anybody would want to pass up on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to put things in more of a perspective, today, if you had the 2.89% interest rate, your purchase price of the home was $200,000. You're doing 3.5% down on the 30-year mortgage. Your monthly payment for principal and interest is just over $800. Now, if we talk about, if you would have bought last year, that same home, same situation, but the interest rate is a whole percentage point higher, your monthly payment is over $100 more. So the difference of, buying today when, interest rates are really low compared to just a year ago, you can see the difference, what a year in the 1 percentage point makes. And then go to 5%. That's $1,000 per month compared to the $800 per month. But, from, somebody who's been in the industry and, previous homeowner back in the day, the 5% seems like maybe extremely low price, but we talk about the 2.89%. There's significant benefits to having purchasing a home and capturing these low interest rates.
And Austin, you're talking about monthly payments. If you were to look at the difference between the percentage points, that's tens of thousands of dollars in more house that you can buy. Mm-hmm. For very little, monthly payment. Yeah, so it gives you more buying power at the 2.89%.
Mm-hmm. Let me backtrack. Here we go. So, Sean, tell us, why should you even buy a home?
Well, I'm curious to see why some of the people that are in line with us today, why they're interested in buying a house. Don't forget, drop a comment in the chat. Why buy a house? It's ownership. It's your property. If you're currently renting, that there are certain restrictions that you can and cannot do because of renting. You have the freedom to renovate. If you want to add on to the house, or if you want to change the look at the house, you want to paint inside, outside, whatever you want to do, again, you have the freedom to do that. If you're renting in an apartment, you're not going to be able to do that. Buying a home is an investment. You're going to build equity in your home, and you're going to be able to borrow against that equity. And when you have that type of investment, that allows you to, it gives you security. It gives you good credit as long as you're making your payments on time. You have tax benefits. You have that sense of pride of home ownership. And we all know that there are other areas of life where we're going to need, to show that we have been responsible in regards to paying on a mortgage. When you go for college loans and just different things of that nature, this will benefit you. And the responsibilities. You do have to make your payments on time. That bank is going to insist that you do. Otherwise, you'll be penalized. Property taxes. That is something to take into consideration, and we will help you with that. And Austin will talk to you about that a little bit in the future here in our presentation, because that ends up being a part of your entire monthly payment. You have to have homeowners insurance. You have to budget for repairs and maintenance. Sometimes you might have to purchase your own appliances and or other equipment within the house, like hot water tanks and furnaces. Yet at the same time, when you're buying a house, we're often able to negotiate so that you have let's say the kitchen appliances or maybe the washer and dryer included within that purchase. Bottom line, buying real estate is the #1 way to build your wealth. It is the fastest way to build your wealth. The wealthiest people in the world own real estate, and they built their wealth through real estate.
Yeah, I want to touch on the repairs and maintenance part. If you're a current renter or tenant, if there's an issue, you guys call your landlord. He gets taken care of. If it's one of the major items, plumbing or something, it's probably not a cost to you. But one of the responsibilities is, because you do own the home and the property, some of the repairs that you have to make, you have to reach out to the services, and it's an expense to you. So that's something that that we talk about in budgeting. When you make that purchase, one of the areas though when we're negotiating for you is we are going to negotiate in a home warranty, so it takes care of those initial costs within that first 12 months of you owning the home.
and you don't have to worry about, something like that. So there are costs that come along with owning, purchasing the home. There are the loan fees, loan application, the credit report, appraisal fee, earnest money deposit, the down payment that comes with the house, or the down payment for your loan, and closing costs. And these costs are standard. There's a reason behind every single one of them. And we're here to help you through that process of knowing exactly where your money is going.
Okay. So, we went over the housing markets, the benefits of buying a home. So now the question is, how do I purchase this home? So there's several, unless you have $100,000 in cash, you probably be going about taking a look at loan options. Some of the two most common are a conventional loan or a government insured loan, being FHA or VA if you're a veteran. So the pros for conventional loan, this can be used for your primary home, is secondary home, or investment property. I know that if you're a current homeowner and you're taking a look at some investment and you're talking about getting passive income. I know it's a hot topic right now, especially in building your wealth. But if you're interested in that route, probably going conventional if you're not going to be owner occupied. That kind of loan was going to fit your needs. Along with conventional, you have lower borrowing costs. You don't have the private mortgage insurance if you have a down payment greater than 20%. We'll talk about that private mortgage insurance in a little bit. And that if you do have less than a 20% down payment, once you do reach 20% in equity of the home's purchase price, then your private mortgage insurance goes away. So some of the cons is you do have higher interest rates if you have a lower credit score. So if you do have a lower credit score, you might want to think about some of the other options. The minimum FICO credit score, you got to be above 620. You got to have a lower debt to income ratio, or the debt to income ratio is less than what you can for government insured, such as FHA. We'll talk about a little bit more in detail in a little bit. So government insured, some of the pros. Some mortgage lenders will allow you to qualify for a loan if you do have a credit score of 580. But on the safe side, majority of loan brokerages, they will qualify you if you're above 600. So that's kind of the safe number. You can have a lower down payment if you don't have excess funds in your current bank, maybe going with the government insured. The FHA is 3.5% down minimum. If you're a veteran, you don't, no down payment. And another pro is the higher debt to income ratio. Brought it up a little bit ago with conventional. We'll talk about more in detail in a little bit. The cons, it must be your primary residence. So this is good for a first-time home buyer. But the con is, you can't utilize it for an investment property. There is an additional appraisal or inspection. This limits the amount of properties you can purchase in terms of that are listed for sale. So not all homes can qualify for an FHA. If they do, they need significant repairs, and that's a cost towards the seller. So
to give you an example, Austin, we had a property that's currently under contract on a conventional loan. Yet we had a buyer that wanted to purchase the property. It was a veteran, and a veteran and an FHA loan are very similar, and they have to have certain standards within the property, and they're mostly safety standards that are there to protect the buyer, and it's an extra set of inspections that the the bank will put forward that make sure that the house is in good working order. And unfortunately, the home was a century home. It had outdated electrical and it needed work. The seller wasn't able to do that work, and the bank wouldn't lend on that property with an FHA loan. So lo and behold, 2 days later, another buyer comes along that had a conventional loan, and they were able to purchase that loan without any issues. Mm-hmm. So, and those are some of the areas where you and I, who do this every single day, we know what we're looking at and what we're looking for. If we're working with an FHA buyer, we can go into properties and we'll have a great idea if it will move forward under the standards of an FHA loan or not. So that's always a benefit, that a buyer would have in today's market. Because of the low inventory, we want to make sure that we are showing properties to you that you can buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. Going back to the market we're in, the inventory is so low. It's created the competitive nature among the buyers, and there's kind of an issue that we run into with some of our FHA buyers when we're looking that. Some homes can go both conventional FHA. They're in good shape. But if we're ever in a multiple offer situation, we're at a competitive disadvantage because sellers, they want to either go the cash route or conventional because there's not the additional appraisal or inspection, and sometimes the process can be smoother or shorter if they are going. So that's kind of the seller's perspective on things. But there's always a way to compete besides offering the highest price, and that's where we can help you out on writing up offers and preparing you to get the best offer on the table. Continuing on with the cons of government insured loans, private mortgage insurance. It oftentimes can't be canceled even if you do reach 20% or more in equity. And then because of that, you have higher borrowing cost. So what's in my monthly payment cost? We talked about the principal and interest. So the principal is the money that you originally agreed to pay back. And on top of that, the next one is interest, the cost of borrowing. So if you got a loan for the $200,000, you have to pay back the $200,000. But also over the life of the loan, there's going to be, I think it was over. We'll take a look on the next page, but it was around $99,000 or $95,000 rather. That's put towards interest over the 30 years. So you're not just paying the $200,000 back. There's the cost of borrowing. And inside that monthly payment, there's property taxes, homeowners insurance, HOA. HOA is it's mainly associated with condominiums, but I came across some neighborhoods that are single family homes that there's this additional cost for maintenance, lawn care, snow removal, some of the expenses, but there's also the HOA may be higher if there's other amenities such as tennis court, swimming pool, fitness center. So the factors of the neighborhood you're moving into, and how much amenities you're getting, that will play a role in the HOA cost. And then the PMI, we talked about this, the private mortgage insurance. This is safety for the lenders. So it helps offset their risk when a borrower makes a lower down payment. As lower down payment increases, the amount of money your lender loses if you default. And that's, like I said, it's applied when the down payment is less than 20%. And then taking a look at this, I thought this was good, kind of a breakdown. You can see the 802, which is the principal and interest expense that you'll have for your monthly payment. But, a tally of, some of our Northeast Ohio area averages, the homeowner's insurance, you got that expense, your PMI expense, taxes. I didn't include HOA fees, but on top of the $802, you'll have the total monthly payment for this scenario. In case it's $1,200, and you can see what I was talking about over time. The green line is how much you paid towards your principal, so that goes all the way up to $200,000, and then the blue line is the interest paid. So actually, on this loan over the life, you're going to pay an additional $95,000 for using the bank's money. And I wanted to mention so the cost. So the monthly payment we're looking at just over $1,200, almost $1,300. So that's $200,000 home. That's probably a 3-4 bedroom home. That money that you're paying each month, it's going back to you. You're putting it back into your home. You're building equity, and essentially your home's kind of your bank. And you're putting money towards your principal, and over time this will build up. Opposed to the rental, you're renting maybe for let's say you have a 2-bedroom. Depending on the city, it's $800. So $800 each month, you're paying somebody else. You're building somebody else's wealth, and that money you'll never see again. So, the benefits of renting versus owning, the proof's right there.
Yeah, I think $800 is a very aggressive number. You're going to find most rents anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200. So if you're in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's an apartment that you're renting for $1,200 a month, you're making somebody else wealthy. Either the owners of that building or apartment complex, or maybe a homeowner that has a duplex so that you're renting from. If it's $800 or $1,000 or $1,200, you're still building somebody else's wealth, and that money isn't helping you. I love the graph that you put together, Austin. Your mortgage over time. What we also have to take into consideration is the appreciation of your property. So as you're paying down on that, that $200,000, and you're have, of course, your cost of borrowing the money, you're building equity along the way. And we're going to share with you, the amount of appreciation that we've seen in housing and real estate here in Northern Ohio over the past, 2 to 3 years. You're earning that money back, and you're building wealth for yourself and giving yourself more buying power for house number 2 and 3 and 4 and or investment properties down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Appreciation, that number was 14% in the past 3 years. So, you're making double your down payment over the course of 3 years. All right. So, you got an idea, how, some of the cost, and, got an idea of what loan products are out there. So now the question is, how do I qualify? So some of the factors that affect your qualification in the maximum loan amount will be play a role into your current credit score, your monthly income, your debt to income ratio, and the funds you currently have in your bank for down payment. So taking a look at the first one, your credit score, I briefly mentioned that the 580 to 599 range, some banks will allow for you to qualify for a mortgage. Majority, almost all, if you have a 600 above. So, recommend trying to do everything you can to get that number 600 plus. Where do you find this number? One of the free websites out there is Experian, Experian.com. You go on it. It's, you can go look at your credit score without it negatively affecting your credit score. So be careful out online. Don't be on random websites. Make sure it's secure source, and sometimes if you're on a not secured source and website's kind of sketchy, it can negatively affect your credit score if you're just pulling it for no reason. But Experian.com is a safe, reliable website.
Let me just chime in real quick. If a buyer happens to go to Experian and they see that their credit score is less than desirable, you're not hitting that 600 plus, and you may be just months away from being able to build that credit back up. Contact us so we can help you get with a company that helps you repair your credit. There are credit repair companies out there that can help you in a short period of time, consolidate some debts. And I'm not saying borrow a loan. Don't go out and get another loan so you can pay and consolidate debts. Yet we want to get you someone on a strategic credit repair course so that you can be able to purchase in the next 3, 6, or 9 months. So I just want to add that out there, because if you can't do it today, you might be able to do it in a short period of time.
Yeah, good point. So what else does my credit score affect? It affects the interest rate you're going to be getting, your minimum down payment requirement, your private mortgage insurance, if it's required, and what amount that is, and the type of loan you can qualify for. So determining how much you can afford. A big factor that mortgage lenders look at is your monthly debt to income ratio. We talk about this a little bit, and here we are. So what they look at, the rule for affordability is less than, at most, you can have 28% of your monthly pre-tax income directed towards your mortgage payments. And then the remaining, 8% can go towards other debt of your total debt. So taking a look at the left side, some of the debts you may have: student loan, car payment, credit cards. Those are maybe some more common probably debts that you have. And if you make an income of $4,000 per month, you can, if you were an FHA borrower, you utilize that loan. If your income was $4,000, you can qualify for the mortgage payment of $1,200, because that mortgage payment's 30% of the $4,000. So $3,143, that's 30%. You're good, and the remaining debt was 11.5%. So that tallies up to 41.5%. So you can affordably qualify for a loan with that scenario. So, you probably heard these terms right here: pre-qualification versus pre-approval. You may think they're interchangeably, but they're not. They have two different meanings. So the pre-qualification is more of an estimate of what you might be able to borrow. It's based on the information that you provide about your finances, as well as a credit check. It's more of an opportunity to learn about the different mortgages that are out there and working with that lender to see which one best fits you. On the other hand, we have pre-approval. So this is more confirming your creditworthiness without having the purchase agreement contract in place. You will complete a mortgage application, and the lender will verify the information that you provide. They will also perform a credit check. When you do get pre-approved, you'll receive a pre-approval letter, which is an offer, but not a commitment, to lend you a specific amount. This letter is good for 90 days. In the purchase process, getting the pre-approval is one of the main milestones in the beginning process. because now that you got the pre-approval, it gives us a good range, a good idea of what range you can qualify for, what's the price range for the home. And, especially in the market we're in today, because there's so much buyer demand and there's COVID safety issues and concerns, sellers are only allowing buyers who are pre-approved into homes to show them and to see them. So getting the pre-approval shows that you're a motivated buyer and you're ready to begin the process. So what do you need to provide for this pre-approval? You need W-2s for the past 2 years, 2 years of tax returns, bank statements for the last 2 months, and then all accounts if you had significantly large deposits. So a written explanation, where these deposits came from. Most recent year to date pay stub reflecting minimum of 30 days income. And then if you're self-employed, a year to date profit and loss statement plus signed tax returns for the last 2 years. So basing on, your current employment situation, you have different pre-approval standards, and each mortgage lender has different necessary documents. So I have a question, for you guys. What do you guys think you need to make on an annual basis to qualify to purchase a $150,000 home? $150,000 home. What do you guys think you need to make on an annual basis? Let's hear in the chat box. All right, to answer that question, in a minute, Sean will go over that. But to go over, where can you finally, where can I find this mortgage lender? You can go to mortgage company, a commercial bank that you currently have funds in, credit union, mortgage broker, other financial institutions, federal government loan programs, housing finance agency. So those are some of the main options. And below you can see three different mortgage companies who the Stewart Team Homes has done business with in the past. Those would be our recommendations. We got Liberty Home Mortgage, First Federal of Lakewood, and then Fairview Independent Mortgage Corporation. So yeah, you can, when you do your research on your end, figure out which mortgage company works best for you, giving a loan officer a call, checking out some of the loan products and interest rates best fit your needs. So going back to that question I mentioned earlier, Sean's going to provide us with an answer.
Yeah, the answer. So if to buy a home priced at $150,000, an annual income of $40,000. So if you're making $40,000 a year, we can get you into a home priced at $150,000. Now, if you're making less than 40, it doesn't mean you can't buy a house. But we just want to give you an example of what you're able to do with a $40,000 annual income, having other monthly debts of, on average of $300 with a down payment of $5,000. So we'll see who got that right and give a shout out. But that's exciting to know that you're able to get into a home, with that annual income of $40,000 of the average priced home in the whole Northern Ohio area is $165,000, going up to about $170 now with some appreciation. You can get into a really, really nice property for $150,000. So that really opens up the window for a lot of people, I think, that don't realize that they can get into a house. So choosing a realtor, why would you choose a realtor, or who do you choose, or how do you choose? What is agency? You want someone that represents you, represents your best interest. And I want to read for you real quick. This is a consumer guide to agency form, and I'm going to read directly from it. Representing buyers. when purchasing real estate, buyers usually choose to work with a real estate agent. Often the buyers want to be represented in the transaction. This is referred to as buyer agency. A brokerage and agent that agree to represent a buyer's interest in a transaction must follow the buyer's lawful instructions, be loyal to the buyer, promote the buyer's best interests, disclose material facts to the buyer, maintain confidential information, and account for any money they handle in the transaction. So when we represent buyers, we have a fiduciary responsibility to you. And what does that mean? That means we go to work for you. You hire us to represent your best interest. And we're doing everything we possibly can to help you get into the home that you desire to get into, that meets your needs, that is in the price bracket that you just want to be in. So our job is to negotiate on your behalf to get you the best possible terms that we can do it in a timely fashion, and we can help assist you along the way. You know, not all real estate agents are created equal. Austin and I do this full time, 7 days a week. And, you know, we're available like you need an agent to be available today. You know, speed is an important part of this whole process right now with the low inventory. When a house hits the market, sometimes it is gone that same day. So speed and knowledge of the market are extremely important. You also have to feel comfortable. You have to, feel comfortable and trust that agent that you're working with. You know, whether you're buying a home in Avon Lake or Menor on the Lake or Geneva on the Lake, being local to that specific location is not important for a real estate agent. We don't need to have an office right there in Menor on the Lake or Avon Lake. I like to say our office has four wheels. We travel where we need to go, and we know the market anywhere you are in Northern Ohio. We're not just another salesperson looking to get another sale on the board. We're a consultant, and our goal is at the Stewart Team Homes, we want to be your real estate consultant for life. In your first home, your move-up home, and in your maybe retirement home. Representation is important, and that is a big benefit. You're going to get that representation. When you see a real estate sign in the yard in front of a house, the agent's name and that company represent the seller. You want to go in and represent with representation yourself. And that's what we do. We represent you as a buyer's agent. And we have access to the multiple listing service. You go to our website at stewartteamhomes.com and you can shop the multiple listing service. Every home that's on the market will show up there. Zillow is a popular place for people to go. And I'm not going to bash Zillow, yet I am going to share with you, it's very often inaccurate in regards to the information that they provide. You will have homes that are no longer on the market, still showing up on the market on Zillow. So it's a buyer beware when you go shopping for houses on Zillow. That speed is not your speed is a necessity in today's market. And you're not going to find that on Zillow. So market knowledge, we have it. We're going to share that with you. We're going to guide you through the process. Actually, Austin's going to share with you in a short period our 20-step buying process that we work with you through that. We're going to handle prepare the purchase agreement, handle all the paperwork. We have an incentive to succeed. When you buy a house in title transfers, we get paid, and we don't get paid until then. And the best part of it is we represent your best interests. We go to work for you, and it's at no cost to you. We get paid by the seller. So that's something that I think everyone should be able to rally around. How about that home buying process, Austin?
Yeah. So Sean touched up on it. The 20-step process. We created this 20-step process to give you an overview of the entire buying process. So we kind of gone through steps 1 through 4. You got a great real estate agent, like one on Stewart Team Homes. You got the buyer consultation, determining your wants and needs in the home. We connected, or if you already had, you're choosing a mortgage lender to work with, and you got the pre-approval. So now you begin house hunting online. We do the in-person showings. Once you find the right home, we're going to write up the offer to purchase. Once the offer is presented and hopefully accepted, that's when the earnest money deposit is due. We'll talk about that a little bit more. After that, we're scheduling the home inspector. You're filling out the application for the mortgage loan. Your lender's ordering up the appraisal. You are ordering the homeowner insurance policy. The title search is beginning. We're reviewing reports and removing those contingencies that we had in the initial contract. Finally get loan approval. And step 16, we're coordinating the closing. 2 to 3 days out from closing, we're doing the final walkthrough. Funds are transferred, title is transferred, and then finally, step 21, I or Sean will be handing you your keys to your new home.
And saying congratulations.
Yeah. So what I kind of did here was highlight some of the main important steps along in that process and going into more detail. So I want to touch on the house hunting online. So there's a lot of websites out there where you can take a look at some of the homes that are available for sale. Like Sean mentioned, Zillow, but not one, they probably don't have all the listings for sale, and two, it's delayed. Fortunately, you can utilize our Stewart Team Home website, and that is up to date in real time, the list of the homes for sale. User friendly, easy to use interface, so that's not an issue. I was actually working with one of the buyers, and he was using our website, but then went on to Realtor.com and was taking a look at some homes, and he's like, "Can you pull up this address?" And then the address, it was, he wanted to go see it, but it was already under contract and no showings. So, that's an example of how Realtor.com being delayed, that can show up in real life situation where speed's important. And I was like, all right, yeah, let's go check it out. But unfortunately, it was already on a contract. So ahead of time, if he was utilizing Stewart Team Home's website, may have not happened. So, after we go house hunting online, I identified some of the homes. I'll schedule and coordinate some showings with you. Coordinate with the listing agent and the owner, scheduling a time that fits everybody, and you get to go in the home and check it out. And then hopefully after a couple showings, you do find the right home and you want to purchase it. So what we do here is write up the purchase agreement and continue to negotiate until terms of all parties have been met and accepted rather. So writing up that contract, it's a pretty standardized form, but filling in some of the items such as purchase price, down payment. There's several things where we do input, but pretty standardized form. Figure out what the best interest of you, present to the seller, and hopefully it's accepted. So once it's accepted, that's when the earnest money is due. So you might be asking, I heard this term a couple times. What is earnest money? So essentially, it is your good faith money that's going to be could be a check that's going to be deposited into an escrow account, third party. So it is deposited, and it's your good faith that you're not going to walk away from the deal for no reason. The reason has to be one of our contingencies, whether that's general home inspection, appraisal. Those are some of the main ones, but there has to be a reason why you walk away from the deal as the buyer, and that's the good faith money. If you were to walk away for no reason, that money is then given to the seller. So, from the seller's perspective, if he's got a couple offers on the table and one of the offers has no earnest money, and another offer has the average, which is 2% of the purchase price. So if it has a 2% deposit for the earnest money, the seller is going to choose the one with the earnest money. So that kind of hopefully gives you a good idea of what earnest money is. So then, once we're under contract, then the first 7 to 10 days, that's when hopefully we'll have the general home inspection scheduled. And this is done by a third party who is going to go into the home and take a look at the exterior as well. But they will thoroughly inspect it, but on a general nature. So they're not a specialist in each, in the plumbing, electrical. They're not a specialist. They're more of a generalist and have a good idea of when things are in working conditions. They do a lot of tests and run a lot of outlets, for an example, lighting, plumbing. So they'll test a lot of the items, and you, once it's done, you'll get a 100-page report. So on this report, there's going to be a lot of items. It's their job to find out what's wrong with the home. So there's going to be a lot of items. Some of them major, or some of them are minor. Hopefully, there's only a couple of major items. But what we want to do is only take a look at the major items. Okay, that being, if I'd hate for there to be a minor issue with, let's say for an example, the flooring. If in the corner of the room, if there is, the hardwood floor is chipped a little bit, yeah, the home inspector is going to point that out. But I'd hate for you to write up in our removal of contingencies for the flooring in the corner to be fixed up, which is a cost of, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 bucks, but that could make the seller mad, and the deal may fall through because of it. So taking a look at the major items that can be significant expenses to you is what we're kind of looking at, and the cost of the home inspector is around $450. So moving on, one of the next steps is the home appraisal. So what this is a assessment of the current market value of the home. This protects you as the buyer, so you don't overpay for the home, and it protects the bank, making sure they're lending the right amount of money. So if you purchased a $100,000 home, under contract, you order the appraisal. The lender's going to order it for you, but it's part of the process. You get the home appraisal done, and if the appraisal comes back and the home appraises for $90,000, but your purchase price was $100,000, there's a $10,000 difference, and you're protected. Especially if you're an FHA buyer and you have that loan, you're protected. You don't have to go through with the purchase if you don't have that $10,000 in the bank. So if you do, and you continue with the the purchase of the home, then you can utilize that $10,000. But the bank won't loan you that extra $10,000, so it has to be come out of cash. So it protects you and protects the bank. And then finally, on this page is the removal of contingencies. So you go on, you have the home inspection as a contingency, home appraisal. Once you review the reports, you agree to the terms, who's going to be, if there's any issues, who's going to be fixing what, and who's going to be paying for it. So you agree to terms, and we continue on with the process. Throughout this process, you're going to order a home ownership insurance policy. This is necessary. Mortgage companies require this. Also, it protects you and your home. Destruction and damage to your interior or exterior of the home. If there's loss or theft of possessions, that's where this can protect you. But Mortgage companies do require this, and this is because if you get a loan without this, and let's say your house catches on fire, but the bank lends you, let's say, $100,000, and you're a year into your loan, there's still over 90% of the loan left over, and they lend you the money, but there's no more home. So there needs to be that insurance policy to protect you as the buyer, and then the bank that's lending the money. So then once, towards the tail end of the process, I mentioned that final walkthrough. This is 2 to 3 days prior to closing. Just make sure that all the agreed upon terms in that removal of contingency, it is, how you guys said it was when you agreed upon it. If, the final walkthrough is just making sure that you're getting for what you're paying for. So that's just double check things are good. And then, on the tail end, ideally we want, so on average, the process is probably around 45 days from, the offer acceptance to close, and, timing things up, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, funds will be transferred. You coordinate closings, the title is going to be transferred, and then, at that closing, it's an in-person signing, or where it's going to be transferred, and then hopefully the next day you get possession, and I get to hand you over the keys, and you own the home, and I'll be saying congratulations. So home buying tips. So I'll give you my top 5 tips. The first one being, do your research. Know your wants and needs in a home. Knowing what you want in terms of the features and location, neighborhood. So knowing what you want before going into things can help speed up the process. Do your research on the agent you're going to be working with. Do your research on mortgage companies and their rates that they're going to be providing. The next tip would be, start saving. Start saving early. Ideally, start saving now, but 3 to 6 ahead of time when you want to decide when you want to buy a home, and start paying off the bad debt. Start paying off your credit cards. Start paying off, or at least lowering your student loans as much as you can. So just lowering your debts will help your debt to income ratio, and hopefully you get better rates and then qualify for more home. Tip 3, don't make any large purchases or open new credit lines. So these are some of the things that banks are going to be looking at if you're in the pre-approval and under contract kind of process. Don't be making large purchases that can decrease your bank balance, so you no longer have the down payment available. So being financially smart. Tip 4, your home inspection. So your home inspector, he's going to go into the home. He will be finding problems with the home. It's, like I said, his job, no matter what he does. Just knowing that there's going to be issues, and trying to figure out what the serious issues are, and we'll be communicating with you, figuring out the best way to go about it, agreeing to terms with the sellers. So something to be not alarmed of when issues come around when the home inspector gives us the report. And then finally, don't be afraid to ask any and all questions, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. I mean, hopefully we informed you, greatly informed you, but there's may forget, or maybe we didn't cover something, but there's going to be questions throughout the process, and don't be afraid to ask any of them. So what's next? And you're thinking, got the seminar, I'm pretty well educated, I'm ready to go. One of the next step, if you're purchasing this month, 6 months from now, or 5 years from now, give us a call today, and let's get get the process started. You'll be more informed, more prepared, and more confident when you decide to make that home purchase. So this time I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to our virtual home buying seminar. We hope to hear from you soon. After this, give us a call. My number's right there. We can hopefully schedule your consultation and find out your needs. Feel free to utilize and visit our website, stewartteamhomes.com. It's been shown at the bottom throughout the presentation. And follow us on all social media platforms. We got Instagram, Twitter, like and subscribe to us on YouTube. And then leave some comments in the comments below, and then comment in the chat box, and would greatly appreciate for some feedback.
Appreciate everyone being here. Great job.